Today is the annual Expo preview edition of the Hockey Card Haven podcast. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome. This is episode 56 of the Hockey Card Haven podcast. This is a weekly show diving deep into the world of hockey card collecting, flipping, and investing. Just a reminder, this podcast is free and available on Spotify as well on Apple Podcasts. You can also find it on YouTube as well. Brand new episodes coming out each and every week. I'm your host, Mike Distefano, Anthony Santini, my co-host on the pod. What's up, buddy? How you feeling?
What's up, dude? I noticed the first thing you said when I joined the stream was no hat today. So I was waiting for you to bring that up, but I got a little bit of a fresh cut, looking fresh. I was going to pull out this one because I had such a good time at the game. Game one was an absolute rock star night. Like, I couldn't even imagine a better night going to the game. I was a little bit on the fence initially selling the tickets, and even headed to the game, I was kind of wish I could have had the couple $1,000, but man, that up ride home was just unbelievable. I was so happy. Everyone was so happy, chanting, what a week. And they got another one tonight. It's going to be a big game. So
yeah, they do. I mean, series tied at 2, man. Game 5, it's pivotal. Certainly pivotal. And I know I'll be watching. You'll be watching. That's for sure. But we're a week away from the Expo, man. Like, the World Series is going to be behind us, and then up next is Expo, right? Like, that's the next big kind of thing that's circled on the calendar for me. And we are a week away from setup day for the dealers who show up the day before on Wednesday, which is why we won't have a podcast next week. Anthony's going to be setting up. So today is our preview show. Today, we're going to be doing the preview, and you'll have a whole week to kind of dive in and have a listen to the podcast. If you can't listen to the full thing today, you can pick it up over the next couple of days. Just make sure you get it in before Thursday when Expo truly begins. And I know it's the preview night, and it's only a 4-hour foray from 4 to 8 p.m., but lots of wheeling and dealing goes down on preview day on the Thursday too, doesn't it, Anthony?
Oh, I find too, like, the number one thing that I noticed going to the Expo so many times is that Thursday night is the perfect night to go value bin hunting.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going the Thursday, or if you haven't planned on it yet and you are a value bin hunter, I think that's the number one time to go. I'll never forget 2 Expos ago. Eric and I showed up. We found this one dealer. I don't remember exactly what his name was, but he had a wide variety of Young Guns exclusives, base parallels, silver foils, everything for almost 60% of the comp we found on the Thursday night.
I was gonna say, didn't you get like a Barkov exclusive Young Gun for like $100 or something?
I did get a Barkov exclusives. I don't remember the price. I think it was somewhere in that ballpark.
It was cheap.
And he did have a big variety of cards, like Noah Dobson Young Gun exclusive, just off the top of my head. I think there was Nazem Kadri Young Gun exclusive. I'm trying to remember. Just a ton. But moral of the story, we went back that Friday afternoon after traveling around the show, and none of the good cards that we were looking for initially on the Thursday were there. Most of them were gone. And for the people that showed up on the Friday, they had no idea that this guy even had those cards. So if you're value bin hunting, definitely show up early and show up on the Thursday.
Yeah. I'll be there all 4 days. You'll be there all 4 days. And we mentioned that we'll be doing another Hockey Card Haven giveaway at the show last year. We gave away a Vladdy bobblehead. I wish we were doing another Vladdy bobblehead, given where we are in the circumstances. It's the World Series. He's putting on an absolute show. But Anthony, you're giving away another type of collectible. What's the giveaway for this year's Hockey Card Haven Expo giveaway? What are we doing here?
So I want to do something with another Funko Pop, because I know collectors like Funko Pops, and some people that listen aren't always, looking for hockey or looking for baseball or looking for whatever you have it. So I want to pick a popular player, a Funko Pop that I can give away, and a cool idea too that almost gives back to the people that don't end up getting the Funko Pop. But we are going to be giving a LeBron James Funko Pop away on the LA Lakers, and how it's going to work this year. So last year we did it a little bit different, code word the Haven, and I noticed people kind of coming up and trying to sneak the word in, and it wasn't really possible because I was doing deals and they were looking at cards, and it was almost that awkward lull. So I think I found the perfect one this year. What I need you to do is show up to booth 5606, and I want you to ask me for a Hockey Card Haven podcast sticker. I'm going to have a little stack behind the booth that on the back of it has a number on it, and it could be 1 to 25. And we're going to up the ante a little bit. Last year, I think we did 10 code words, but this year we're going to do 25. And if you are the 25th person that comes, ask for a sticker, and you look on the back, and there's that illustrious number 25, you're going to go home with a free LeBron James Funko Pop. So that's what we're doing this year. Come up to me, booth 5606. I'm going to post it on Instagram. You're going to ask me for a sticker of the Hockey Card Haven, and it's going to have a number on the back.
Beautiful. And we will have 25 that will be stickered, but I'm going to give you some stickers that we can hand out regardless to some people. So, there'll be 25 for the giveaway, but then there'll also be some stickers that anybody can come and slap onto their slab case and get yourself some Hockey Card Haven swag. That's for sure. So, so make sure you go to booth 5606. Do you know where that's going to be? Have you seen it on the floor plan?
So if you're listening and you did see me last year, we should be in the same spot as we were the last 2 years.
Toward the autograph booths.
Yes, towards the PSA autograph booth. I'll post up something on Instagram whenever I get everything confirmed. I haven't received the confirmation email. I know we're good to go, but nothing as of yet. I know the emails usually come in like week of or weekend before, so not too worried about that, but we will be near the autograph pavilion, almost right in the middle of the PSA section and the autograph pavilion.
Beautiful. So just a reminder, giving away another giveaway, a little LeBron James Funko Pop for one lucky listener of the podcast. Just go up to Anthony's booth, grab us yourself a Hockey Card Haven sticker. It's got number 25 on the back, which I guess it'll be the last sticker you give away. You'll be the lucky winner of this Funko Pop. So I kind of do this before every expo. So it's like a biannual kind of 5 tips and tricks to the expo. So for those who are maybe new to the podcast and haven't heard my 5 tips to surviving the expo or thriving at the expo, I'm going to go through them really quickly and we can kind of go back and forth. You can add in obviously your personal experience to what allows you to succeed, Anthony, for anyone who's been there once, twice maybe, or hasn't been there at all and wants to know what it's like. The number one thing that I always preach to people is cash is king. Cash is king at the expo. I mean, there's a lot of dealers who'll take EMT. They'll take, there's a lot of guys who even have like credit card now, and like you can have the Square app on your phone, and technology is great in that way. But cash is always king. If you can pay in cash, usually it's the best way to negotiate a deal of some kind, not only just by throwing out numbers, but by laying it out on the table in front of the dealer, right in front of his eyes. Sometimes it's just too much to see, but you got 6 or 7 brown bills sitting there in front of you when you're trying to get a deal done here. So cash is king. That's number one. That's the number one tip I have for anyone going to Expo. Make sure you got a lot of cash in hand, because that's going to be your best negotiation tactic, is if you're dealing with cash, not card.
Yeah, there's nothing more annoying for a dealer and even for a buyer too, where you agree on a price and then you kind of say, oh, I need to go run to my car, grab cash, run to the ATM. Do you guys take tap? Do you take card? Can I pay in PayPal? It's this big merry-go-round that doesn't need to happen. Keep it simple. Bring cash. Bring change too. A little bit of a side note. Bring $5 bills. Dealers aren't always able to break change.
Totally.
And that kind of is that weird lull after agreeing to a deal. So $5, $10, $20 bills are also important.
Yeah, and I'll say this too, like, although EMT and PayPal and all that stuff is capable, right? Like, we have that technology, the service isn't always that great inside the International Center where the expo is held. So sometimes, you could swing a deal for, $1,000 card, let's say. It could take like up to 15, 20 minutes sometimes for that EMT to just go through, because there's so much going on. So that's another thing to keep in mind too, is it's so much easier just to hand over cash to someone as opposed to having to wait around and linger and wait for you to make that, that EMT to go through. I've been there, and where I've had to like I bought a Crosby 9.5 Beckett a couple of years ago at the Expo, and I had to wait around like 30 minutes at the guy's booth before it finally went through. Because obviously he didn't want to give me a free card without having that deal go through. So sometimes technology and stuff not your best friend, and there's just so many phones, so many people trying to look up comps. The internet's not the greatest, the reception's not the best. So again, cash is king for multiple reasons. My second tip that I have for anyone going to the Expo, guys, if you see a card you like, and you're like this is more so, I guess, for collectors. For investors, there's a little bit of a layer to it, but if you're a collector and you see a card you like, buy it, because I almost guarantee you the next time you swing by that booth and you say, you know what, actually, I really liked, that Austin Matthews PMG. That was a really cool card. I want to go back and get that. I didn't see anything else that really stood out to me. Or this Austin Matthews nice patch auto. If you go back there 9 out of 10 times, that sucker's gone. Because if you liked it, someone else liked it as well. And if you were hemming and hawing, you said, I'll go back and buy it maybe later on in the Expo, later in the day, an hour later, sometimes even within 15 minutes, that could happen to you. It happened to me, Anthony. It happened to me. There was a dealer on the Thursday. I went and I saw he had a beautiful Roberto Luongo limited logos cut patch auto, and I loved it. Yes, and I want to try and work out a trade for it, not necessarily buy it, some cash and trade. So I was kind of talking to him on the Thursday, and I talked to him at the after hours event that the Gong Show holds. We were chatting there as well. He's a friend of Jeremy Lee's, actually. He was at his booth. And, he's like, yeah, it's a card I've had for a couple years. I love it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, let me stop by tomorrow. Maybe we can figure out a trade that works, a cash and trade deal. Sure enough, I show up and the guy said, you wouldn't believe it. Someone came up, paid my sticker price, bought it right on the spot this morning at like 10 o'clock in the morning. Sorry, man. Like I had to let it go. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. The guy told me he had it for like 2.5 years sitting in a showcase. And all of a sudden I show interest in it. And within 24 hours, it's gone. And I'm talking about it 2 years later. So I clearly regret not pulling the trigger on that one. But that's the example I'm talking about. If you see a card you like it and it's a price you're willing to pay, buy it. Just go ahead and buy it, because when you go back, sometimes it's not there. You're gonna be kicking yourself 2 years later, like me.
Yeah, even too, like I feel like you almost undersold it with 15 minutes. Geez, 15 seconds that card could be sold. If you ask a dealer to take a card out, look at it, you never know. The people beside might do one of these and look at that. Yeah, I'll pass on it, give it back to the dealer. You walk away, that person might be like, you know what, I'll take it for $100. Sure. Boom, it's already gone. So the amount of times I've seen that happen at my table where people are just kind of lurking and they do like one of these and they're like waiting for the person to pass, and then it happens. It's definitely going to happen next weekend too.
So here's the thing. This is more so, I guess, well, for anybody, but like, flippers, investors. If you see a card, you like it, and you're not sure if they're willing to negotiate quite yet, and you're still trying to feel them out, or you're trying to build up a lot to try and get, a deal on it. I think a really like a smart thing to do that I've been doing lately is I always want the dealer to take out the cards I'm looking at, so that no one else around me can look at it, come in, and be like, oh, I want that one. Because earlier when I was, I guess, I don't know, a little more shy and just kind of walk around, I would scope out and look at cards like, oh, I like that. I like that. And I'd just be in my head thinking, oh, that's a cool card. That Caulfield PSA 10. Oh, I like that Slavkovsky patch auto. Oh, that's a really nice Matthew Nyes. And I'm just in my head. But then someone beside me literally says to the dealer, can I see that Caulfield auto? And all of a sudden, the card I was looking at is gone. So be vocal too, I would say. This is an aside. If you like the card, be vocal. Tell a guy, hey, can I see that card? And then once you have it in your hand and maybe build up a pile. I like that. I like that. Can you pull these out? All of a sudden, once you have them, you have the first right of refusal as well. So being vocal too. If you like a card, say it. Hey, can I look at it? Can we put together a package and try and make something happen, and get it done that way too? That's another little subtopic there, but something over the last year or so that I found works a lot better for me when I'm out there buying and trying to do the flipping game, I suppose. I'm sure you have similar experiences with that.
Yeah, even too, like, as a dealer, it makes it easier, right? Like, if you have someone in front of you, you're gonna be so busy if they're looking at something, they're interested in making a little pile, just ask them, "Can I pull it out? Can I look at it?" Whatever it might be, I'll keep my little stack over here. It makes
Yeah.
it so much easier for both sides.
And you can copy yourself, right? You bring them up, boom, boom, you copy it yourself. And nowadays, everyone likes to work with percentages. They're like, hey, this works out to 90% of market. Are you good with that? And you can just do all that yourself. So that is something that I think is under the little subtopic, but it does kind of bleed into what my third tip is, and that's comps are your friends, right? Either know how much things are going for, or don't be afraid to go and comp the card, right? A comparable is what you want, because everyone's been in a situation where they've overpaid for a card, right? Or you've been in a situation where you've sold a card for undervalue. You don't want to do either of those things realistically, especially if you are an investor or a flipper or whatever you want to say. Comps are legitimately your friends, and there are many services, whether it's eBay sold listings is obviously the number one. We like to use Card Ladder a lot. It's a paid subscription service, but I find it to be a great service for anybody who seriously dabbles in the card industry. 130 points, another free service that you can use. I would say those three are probably the top that I use to find my comps. So I recommend everybody, before you buy a card or before you sell a card, make sure that you're checking comps to make sure that the prices are right.
Yeah, I think too, like you mentioned earlier in the conversation with cash is king and or e-transferring, where you might run into an issue with connection. Like if you go and you don't really know the comp, you almost kind of want to, on your way to the expo, or even before having your morning coffee, go online. All right, I mean, I'm gonna lean towards Celebrini cards, Bedard cards. Let me get a general idea of what they're going for, just so
Right.
I'm almost not really wasting time at the tables too. Like we've had the conversation, if you're just someone that's sitting there comping out cards for half an hour and then end up walking away, the dealer is going to get annoyed in a sense too, because you're just blocking space for the others. Come to the expo, come prepared, and know your comps. It's important.
Yeah, 100%. Knowing it ahead of time is even better for sure. Specifically for like the young guns market, the future watch market, those where, there's a lot of common sales. You can do that research. Stuff that's a little more rare, I suppose, that you're not thinking of, that you just see and you're like, oh, I've never seen that before. Let me see if there's sales of that card, a little bit different. But, those liquid cards, the young guns, the PSA 10s and all that, just it is better to know the market ahead of time. Number four, and this is even more especially important when you're bringing your own cards to the expo, whether it's to trade them or whether it's to sell them. Know the value of your cards ahead of time. What I always do, and Anthony's always kind of ragged on me for this. Like as soon as I get cards, I comp them and I put a sticker on it. Right, that's the price. That's what's going for. It's the comp. That's the sticker, and right away. So every card that I own basically has the sticker price right on it. And I think that's very beneficial for multiple reasons. One, it doesn't waste people's time, right? So if you're looking to either trade or sell your cards, they know exactly what it's worth, or at least what you want for them. You can obviously, usually you have to be negotiable on those prices, but it's a good starting point, and it doesn't waste people's time. And I mean, Anthony, you're a dealer. You've been there for a couple expos now. You don't have time to sit there comping, 20 cards if someone walks up to you with their slab cases looking to sell stuff. I mean, you have a general idea of what some cards are worth, but some of the other, low popped cards, maybe not so much. If they have the price tag there, it's an easy, like, okay, I'll look into that, or no, I'm not willing to pay this, and you put it to the side. It just makes, the deals way easier on the dealers themselves.
Yeah, it's so much simpler. You know how many times people will come up, "Oh, I got like this little case I'm looking to sell." Might it be just a couple cards, the whole stack, whatever it is, and you kind of say, "All right, like what are you thinking?" And the response is, "Well, what do you want to pay?" Well, I can't really do
Well,
both. I mean,
I,
it's
I
pretty.
like that response. Honestly, I like that response a lot better than I don't know. Like I don't know what they're worth. That is the worst for me. Like once I hear, I don't know what they're worth.
I mean, I find that the response kind of ties in together. Like saying to the person, like,
You do,
"Well,
yeah.
what do you want to pay?" Like, well, I don't know what I want to pay. What do you want for it? Obviously, I kind of have an idea maybe of what I want to pay. It
I
might
have a
be a
stock
super
answer,
rare card.
$5. Doesn't matter what the card is. They'll be like, "What do you want to pay?" $5.
Hmm.
You want to sell for $5? No, okay. Well, what do you want to sell it for? There's my starting point. Just
Yeah.
like, like I know maybe it's an assholeish cheeky answer, but it's like, look, I can't be the buyer and the seller. You know what I mean? Like I can buy, but you got to let me know what you're looking to get for this stuff. Because if we're not even in the same ballpark, then don't waste my time. And that's part of having the card stickered and knowing the prices. Like right away, you're looking through something like, oh, how much do you want for that? And if they say, twice whatever, the latest comps are, it's like, you have room on that? And like, not really. Okay. You're probably just going to move on right away. Right. Or if the stickers are way too high, they're like stickers from 2021, 22 pricing. And you're just like, yeah, okay. I'm probably just going to move on here because, you're going to want too much for your cards. To just the current market value isn't there for some of that stuff. So yeah, if you're bringing your own cards, know the value of them ahead of time. It just makes it a lot easier when you're looking to trade and sell them. And then finally, my final tip, and people laugh. People laugh when I say this. Wear good shoes. Like, make sure you're wearing good shoes. I got my Hokas, and I'm a diehard Hoka guy, these days. And you're walking around. It doesn't matter if you're there for 1 day, 2 days, all 4 days, the entire weekend. It's a lot of walking around. It's a lot of steps. It's a lot of, stress on your feet, on your body. Make sure you're wearing the proper footwear, honestly. And it is so important. And it could be the difference between an enjoyable experience and one where you're really dreading and you just want to leave and take off and get out of there because you're just, I don't know, your knees hurt, your feet hurt. You're just like, I'm done. I've been looking at cards. I've been hunched over. My neck hurts, my feet. And you just want to get out of there. Wearing good shoes is actually like sometimes a lifesaver and just makes it 10% better. So that's always a tip for me for these big long shows. Proper footwear is important, man. It's important.
Yeah, I kind of picked up a pair of Ultra Boosts that I've used the last two expos, and they usually don't go well with what I'm wearing style wise. And my girlfriend
No
really likes
matter.
with some
We're all
dark gray
nerds in there
shoes.
anyway.
But
We're all
I mean,
nerds in there anyway, dude. Come on.
either way, definitely having the most comfortable shoes possible is huge. It is so big, especially if you're going to be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And if you're a dealer listening and you're going to be there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and probably headed to all the trade nights, it's a long day. It's a long day. And I know you didn't mention it, but bring snacks also very important. Just kind of the real side, the veteran attendee expo goers kind of know to do. But yeah, number one, you got to walk out the door with comfortable shoes. I know you said Hokas. I think Hokas are good. I personally like Ultra Boost. I've never had Hokas, but I want to look into it. I
Yeah.
recommend Ultra Boost. I've heard Hokas are good, but my Ultra Boosts have been doing me solid the past 2 years.
Hey, man, whatever works for you. Whatever works for you. We're not sponsored, if either of those two companies want to reach out and sponsor us, we'll be glad to open up engagements on that. But yeah, those are kind of the 5 tips and tricks that I find is kind of the like need to know basics for those who are heading to Expo, whether it's your first time, your 5th time, your 18th time. There's guys who've been going since the 90s. So, and I'm sure a lot of those people would tell you that this list is pretty bang on. Let me know down below if there's any tips and tricks that you think is necessary for those who are maybe first time goers who want to know what it's like at Expo. The other thing that I should say too is, a lot of Americans that come up, right? Hockey card people from America, collectors, they'll come up and they're not sure, oh, should I exchange my money? You don't have to. I'll say that Canadians will very gladly take your American cash, and you'll just have to kind of comp everything yourself and do the conversion on your phone. And I think it's like 40-ish% between 38 and 40%, whatever it may be. But yeah, you don't have to convert your money to Canadian if you're coming up from the States. Canadians will gladly take US cash. That's for sure. I know I do when I'm setting up at booths. I'm sure you will also accept USD as a currency at the show. So that's one other little, I guess, nugget for the Americans who listen and maybe coming up to the show and are curious about that. All right, Anthony. So there's the tips and tricks. Now, I think tonight, the rest of the show, we're going to pretty much do like our expo predictions because we talk about it all the time how an expo is almost defined by a certain player that weekend. And, a couple of years ago, it was like Jack Hughes had a big weekend and he was the player that everyone was chasing. Elias Pettersson had himself a weekend. Nylander last winter was kind of the guy that everyone was going after. Matthew Nyes was the player last spring that I think a lot of people were going after, and he was that guy. So there's guys who have that expo moment, we call it. So who's your prediction for who is going to be kind of the expo buzzy player that everyone's looking for this weekend?
So off to a really good start. One of the best players in the NHL right now, and I know a lot of people have argued for him to even make the Olympic team, which I don't know. I think it's possible. Young kid, but I think Macklin Celebrini is going to kind of have his expo moment. His prices have jumped a ton in the last week. I picked up a young gun for around $100, and it was kind of coming across my mind like $100 for Celebrini is pretty fair. But
Yeah.
he's jumped back up now to around 150, 160. And I think if he if he keeps playing well leading into the expo like he has so far, I mean, $200, and obviously there's going to be some big Celebrini cards at the expo. I think those can move pretty well, but I think Macklin Celebrini is going to have his expo moment. I think it's possible.
Honestly, I think that's a good pick. That's a really because not only is he young, he's Canadian, like he's and that helps, but he's also a scorer. He's coming off of a big week. Like he had a 5-point game against the Rangers last
Oh,
week
yeah.
in Madison Square Garden. And that same night, I don't know if you saw this, but that same night, there was a one of his Shield patch autos. Was it the Tandem Shield? I think it was. I got it here. The Tandem Shield patch auto with him and his teammate, and it went for like 45K. $45,000. Here, where is it? There it is. Pull it up right now. Yeah, there it is. So not autoed, sorry, but it was Will Smith and Macklin Celebrini rookie tandem shield patch from Ultimate went for $45,000 that same night. Insane, just an insane price. And so that's the highest sale of a Macklin Celebrini card of all time, edged out by a 1-of-1 Black Future Watch auto that went for like north of $43,000 just 3 days prior. So that's where we're at with Celebrini's market. It's really starting to take off. You mentioned like the raw young guns are starting to go up, which means the PSA 10s are starting to go up. If he has another big game like next week in the middle of the expo, I don't think it's going to be crazy to see his stuff really take off and some of his higher end autos and patch autos and even like PSA 10, young guns or the variations like start to really, take off in price. I think I saw even his high gloss sold the other day for like 10 grand, I think, for a Celebrini high gloss. So we could see a lot of Celebrini stuff sell. I think that's a very good player. For me, the guy I decided to choose was Connor Bedard. I think this is finally going to be the year that Connor Bedard gets his moment. And I don't know if I'm just, living in the moment a little too much. He had his, I think, first career hat trick last night. Just crazy that he hasn't had a hat trick yet. That Celebrini ended up getting a hattie before Bedard. But anyways, Bedard had his first career hat trick the other day against Chicago. He's on pace for 49 goals right now. He's got 12 points in 10 games so far, and he's playing with absolute bums. Like, he's just taking the puck, ripping down the ice, and ripping it under the bar all season long so far. And it seems like he really, really wants to make Team Canada. And that, I think, is what's fueling him. So I think I think the Bedsy breakout's here. Like, I think Connor Bedard is absolutely here. And I think the market got low enough where I think there's some more. There could be a lot more entrance into the Bedard market. You know what I mean? Like his Young Guns is no longer $1,000 like it was upon release. You can get it for under $300 still. It's starting to kind of creep back up a little bit over the last week, but you could still find them for between 250 and 300, which it would be a good price if he turns out to be the 50 goal scorer that he's expected to be. Like that's what I'm talking about here. The PSA 10 was going for about 650 in the summer. If he's a perennial 50 goal scorer, you could see that climb and get up into, the $1,000 stratosphere like we've seen for other big time 50 goal scorers. So Connor Bedard, I think, has gotten to a point where his market has it already bottomed. It's working its way back up, but it's settling in a nice spot where I think it's affordable for people, and he still has that superstar lust on him, and he's killing it early on in the year. And I think that is the reason why Connor Bedard, I think people will be jumping back into that market because they can afford it this time, and it looks like he might be getting ready to be that superstar. So I have a feeling that there'll be a lot of Connor Bedard asks this weekend.
Yeah, I think it's a solid pick. I mean, going back to Macklin Celebrini too, like for both of them, both starting the season out so well. For Celebrini, the hype's always been there. For Bedard, it started off the craziest hype we've probably ever seen, or that I know that I've ever seen since I've been in the hobby. I know you
Definitely
were around
since,
when Connor McDavid was there, but I wasn't in the hobby at the time, so I don't really
it's just so much
understand.
bigger. Like the hobby
Right.
is just bigger as a whole right now. So like there's just more people. So the buzz is far greater.
And you can almost say too, like rather than bottoming out, it's almost like this is the right time to buy in for Bedard, like you put it. It's almost comfortable where you could pick up his Young Guns. And I hate always talking about Young Guns, but it's the easiest thing to just, assess where players' market's at. But his
Right.
PSA 10s going for around $600 to $700, pretty reasonable. Pretty reasonable considering they used to go for over $1,000. His future watch is going for around $2,000 to $2,400, and I know there's a bunch of variables in sales too because he did that little half-ass autograph, if you want to call it, where it was just a little scribble versus the big scribble, and it makes a difference. But I do think, like you mentioned, that Connor Bedard is going to be pretty sought after because I think he's going to have another big week. It's time for him to really pick it up. If he wants to make this Olympic team, the time is now.
Yeah, and like you can buy some rookie autos. Like I'm seeing, like let's see what we got here. Some rookie autos, like Premier. There was a Premier rookie auto that just sold last week. It was a gold auto, number to 15. It's a sticker auto, but sold in the $800 sphere. There was Stature rookie auto, number to 25, that sold similarly $794, and it's like, for Bedard rookie autos, that probably seems about like right-ish, right where it should be. It was insane at what it was going for, obviously, when he first burst onto the scene, but things have settled, and I think that there'll be a lot of people asking on Connor Bedard this weekend. I'll be curious next week to kind of reconvene, or 2 weeks from now, reconvene after the Expo, to see who you personally get asking for, considering that you'll be set up, and the names that kind of get thrown around at Expo. So yeah, Macklin Celebrini, Connor Bedard. I did have an honorable mention for Logan Cooley also, because he's off to an unbelievable start. I think Cooley will be another player that get asked about quite a bit. You wanted to talk about, you had like a category for our projections show here for who do you think the best buy for the weekend will be for the rest of the season. So who are you going to be buying at Expo with the hopes of it growing over the course of the season? Is that correct? That's how you kind of phrase that one? That's how you see it?
Yeah, I want people to look back in 3 months from now and say, "Oh my goodness, I know he was hot during the November Expo, but man, this guy's having an absolute season." And to kind of give it away, I saw a crazy notification on my phone. I don't know if you get notifications from Yahoo Fantasy Sports, but it said sell high on Nick Suzuki. Sell high on Nick Suzuki and Nick Schmaltz. It was kind of interesting. Nick Schmaltz, separate conversation, but Nick Suzuki, why? I feel like this is the time now to get in when he's really playing he's been lights out to start the season. He had a great season last year, career year. I believe he eclipsed the 100-point mark, and we saw his market really pick up. But I think that to end the season, he's going to be one of those players where you look back and you're like, man, what was I doing in November of 2025, not picking up Nick Suzuki Young Guns for $100, not picking up his Future Watch for $500, $450. Like, he's a player with backed by the Montreal market, Canadians market, that we've seen so many times where they could kind of protect a player. Like, we're looking at guys like Line, who you talked about 2-3 weeks ago, where his market's even kind of protected in a sense too, just because he's on the team. I think Nick Suzuki is one of the best buys that you could pick up next week at the Expo.
Yeah, you could have bought, well, let's see, PSA 10. Yeah, so PSA 10 sold at the beginning of the month. PSA 10 Future Watch Auto for $650.
Wow.
At the beginning of the month, October 4th, there was an auction date on eBay. And the last sale on that on October 25th was $819. So, you're looking at just under $200 in growth, over the course of the season. And I mean, the Canadians are like leading the division. They're top 3 team in the NHL right now. He's the captain. It's Montreal. Like Nick Suzuki's a player who for sure could be a guy who continues to just ascend and grow, not only on the ice from an on-ice production perspective, but in the card market too. I know that again, it's easy to talk about the young guns, especially, but I've had people come up to me and ask me for a lot of Suzuki Young Guns recently. And at first, he was like a $70, $80 Young Gun. Now he's like $120. And it's literally over the course of like the last, few months. So, yeah, that's a solid one for sure. I like Logan Cooley's the guy for me. I know I was just talking about him as like a guy having the Expo moment, but I think that he's also a guy who's just like the world is waking up to. Like, he's having an unbelievable start to the season. He's got 6 goals his last 4 games here, and he's having such a great year right now. And that Mammoth team, the Utah Mammoth, like, they're for real, dog. Like, that team is for real.
Good.
Leading the Central Division. And I think for I don't know, he was a little under. I want to say he was underappreciated or slept on, but not to throw you under the bus, but a lot more people are chasing like the Dylan Gunthers and the JJ Paterkas of the world. But to me, Logan Cooley's the best player on that team, and he's the guy who's going to lead the charge. And for that reason, like, I really think that Logan Cooley is going to be a big buy right now. Until if the market continues to explode, I guess over the next little bit, maybe it's a waiting period, but I think that he's going to have a monster year. He just got paid. What did he sign? He signed a $80 million contract this morning. Like, they clearly believe in him. So Logan Cooley is a guy that I'm thinking that I might have some speculative funds go towards him over the next week.
Yeah, and like the segment's kind of built on, it's almost that point where even though the players are playing well now and the market's reflecting it, I still think his market can grow. Like, I saw a Young Gun exclusive this weekend selling for around $315 on Slab Sharks, I believe was the sale. Pretty darn cheap compared to some of the other players where there's so much hype and speculation on what their market could be that it almost caps out on release or for what people are selling for. $315. I mean, you can walk around the Expo and just flash that comp anywhere. And hopefully you could pick one up for that price. Like, his market is very, very fair.
Very cheap right now. You can get his cup. Where is it? What am I looking at here? 23, 24. No, it was ultimate retro rookie patch auto. So patch auto for $99. Or sorry, out of 99 for $300. $99 would be wild if you could get it that cheap. But like, we're talking about a patch auto of Logan Cooley, number to 99, $300. Same thing. Look, here's a cup rookie auto that we're looking at the exact same situation here on a cup rookie auto. Let me pull this up for the viewers here on YouTube. Like, look at this thing. $200 for that cup rookie auto? Are you kidding me? Like, what are we doing here?
The Cup rookie stuff is so cheap. It doesn't look like it's popping up on screen yet, but even when you go to look at some of the other players from that draft class, it's ridiculous. Like, I've
And
seen that one before, but on-card auto patch, I believe it's game used and what, numbered to 99? Like, that's a pretty
out
solid
of the
card.
cup, out of the cup.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So Logan Cooley for me is a guy that I think I'll be investing in moving forward.
I
He's a
like
guy
it.
that's kind of on my radar of guys to pick up here. All right. And bull prediction. What's your Expo bull prediction for this year?
Hmm. So my bold prediction when we did it for the hobby season was I was thinking of Connor Bedard, or sorry, the Connor Bedard Young Guns 101 was going to be found. And I was kind of dabbling into some extremist take this morning where I feel like a pack pulled Connor Bedard Young Gun 101 was going to be pulled at this expo.
Oh
But I was
my.
thinking, you know what? I don't know. That'd be very, Simpsons of me to kind of predict something like that. It'd be pretty crazy. But my
So you
hot take,
should. You should predict it. What do you mean? It's a
I think
bold
it's
prediction.
too crazy. I'm gonna stay away from it. But if it does happen, it was my prediction. But either way, I feel like my realistic bold prediction for the expo is going to be Matthew Nye's market is going to absolutely explode. I feel like people are going to be looking for him left, right, and center. You're going to have people buzzing around the show looking for Matthew Nye's Young Guns, and you won't even be able to sniff one for under $75. I think these things are going to be stickered at $100 all weekend. The comps aren't reflecting it. That's the only thing that kind of refrains me from being so confident, but I know
Yeah.
people are going to be looking for them.
I don't even think that's that bold of a prediction, to be honest with you. Like to say that they're stickered at $100, like I legitimately think that is like I'm looking right now, like his base rookie inserts are going for like $5 a piece. Like Skybox Metal Universe base rookie insert is selling for $5 right now. His base Allure, this is a second year card sold for $3 on eBay. Like there's just it's insane, his market right now, and it's the Toronto Maple Leafs, so it makes sense in a way, obviously. But yeah, this guy he's something special, and he's playing his ass off for Toronto right now. They're not playing well, but he is. Had a 2-goal night yesterday against Calgary. He's been their best player all season long, so I would not be shocked. I mean, you say we'll see $100 stickers. I think we'll see $100 sales of the Young Guns. Like
Ooh,
people will
that's
be
even
forking
older.
over a brown bill to acquire a Matthew Nyes Young Gun, man. Like again, I don't think that the comps support that online, but you don't think that we're going to see people doing that? 100% it's going to happen. The comps didn't, even at last year's expo, they were going for like 60, 70, $80. Some people were selling them for. They're only comping at like $40 at the time, 50 tops, but people are getting 60 to $80 for them because supply and demand. Like in the show, and you know who's there signing this weekend, Anthony? Matthew
Why?
Nyes, buddy.
Why?
Matthew Nyes. So I think that's a soft prediction, man. I don't think we'll see just stickers. I think we'll see brown bills
Hmm,
exchange for a Matthew Nyes Young Guns. I'm
I like
telling you,
it.
it's gonna
I like
happen.
it. Okay. Well, I got a lot of them. So booth 5606, and I actually just got the email. Friend of the show, Drew Menard, sent
My
me the
guy.
floor plan. So we're gonna get into that a little bit later. I do want to hear your bold take. We'll pull up the floor plan and take a look at that too. I just got that, so very happy to see, and we will officially be in the same spot. So looking forward to that.
I think we'll see some Ivan Demidov Young Guns get graded at Expo.
Oh, I was waiting for this conversation.
I
I know we need to get
personally
into it. I was waiting for this.
I personally will be grading my Ivan Demidov Young Gun at Expo.
Oh,
I
oh,
personally will be doing that. Yeah, I'm gonna pay the $130. I'm gonna get it graded on location at Expo because being first to market is very important. It is. And supply and demand is very important. Right now, there's a very low supply of Ivan Demidov PSA 10 Young Guns. There are, I think, 8 of them currently, 7 or 8 Young Guns currently that are in PSA 10 in the registry. And that's only because there was some partnership, I think, with like Fanatics Fest and PSA, and they're doing live breaks, and then they were able to get them graded live. Yeah, so some lucky people who ended up in the correct break, I guess. So they're able to get their Demidovs live and done like that. But for those simpletons like you and I who have to send in our cards to get graded, nobody was going to be able to get them sent in time to get it back for Expo. So for that reason, I think that we'll see a lot of people bringing their Demidovs to get graded there. So we'll see the pop count kind of explode this weekend on the um, Expo weekend on the Demidovs. But until that pop count populates, it's going to be a very low pop, and the first ones to market are going to be expensive. And we saw the first sale actually earlier this week. I wrote about it for the Hockey News. The first sale of an Ivan Demidov Young Gun went for $1,400 Canadian. It was $999 American. It was a buy it now. It was paid for and verified on Terapeak. $1,000 USD Young Gun for Ivan Demidov. First one to sell. I think we will see Ivan Demidov for Austin Matthews PSA 10 slabs traded 1-for-1.
Oh boy.
I think we're going to see that happen at Expo. I think people are going to go get their Demidovs graded, get 10s, and from there try and unload them quickly to keep the value. Because just like the Bedard, where they started out sky high at like $2,000, 1,500, then it was down to 1,000. Now they're down to like, they got as low as like 600. Now they're back up to 7, but they cascade all the time, right? It's just going to happen. And I think for that reason, guys who are lucky to get 10s on a Demidov, I think they'll look to move them at the Expo. Savvy flippers, at least, will look to do that. And I think we could see a situation where the Matthews market is now low enough where you could see guys trading Demidov for Matthews straight up. We saw that last year with Hudson, Lane Hudson. There's more hype around Demidov than there was with Lane Hudson. So I think absolutely, I would honestly be floored at this point if we didn't hear through the grapevine that somebody traded an Ivan Demidov Young Gun for Austin Matthews, PSA 10 graded, swap 1-for-1. That's my bold prediction. We'll see that happen.
I think it's very fair too, and pretty realistic. I mean, for both sides. If you think about it, Matthews trending down right now, Demidov hot and playing so well. And if you do make a trade like that, there is still room for Demidov to grow. I don't know about you, but when I saw that first sale sell for, I believe it was $1,494, let's call it 1,500 for argument's sake, I thought that was relatively cheap. I thought the first one was going to go for at least 2,500 or something ridiculous. But it looks like there are a couple on market right there. So under PSA details where you see all, there's 7 PSA 10s, 7 PSA 9s, 1 PSA 8. So 46% gem rate right now for the Ivan Demidov. It's pretty ridiculous getting a 10. I don't know if it's going to keep up that way, but I do know that they do grade pretty hard on site. I mean, best of luck to you. I hope you do it. And the question that I almost want to turn to you is, let's say you get that Demidov.
Yep.
What's your sticker, or would you do it 1-for-1? Let's say you're talking to a dealer. Hey, I was listening to the pod. You know what? I'd like to do that trade. Would you do it?
Yeah, probably, but I would try and sell it first. Like I'd try and sell it for cash first, and then if there's no takers, no buyers at that, market value, which right now market is 1,400, I would probably, if someone offered me 1,000 cash for it, I'd take the 1,000 cash and run. Yeah, I would. You wouldn't?
I don't know. Yeah, you know what? I'd probably be torn to take it, sure, because
the second that population count starts to explode, everyone and their grandmother is going to send in a Demidov Young Gun, and all of a sudden we're going to see pop counts north of 5,000, just like we did with Bedard. I'm telling you, how many is there of Lane Hudson right now? Lane Hudson,
it's got to be something pretty crazy.
I'd imagine so. I would imagine so. PSA 10 Young Gun. All right. He's currently going for $430 is the last sale. Keep in mind, people are trading Hudson for Matthews 1-for-1, PSA 10 slabs. That was happening. And there is 1,300 PSA 10s. Now, only a 25% gem rate, though, so it's a low gem rate for him. There's 5,500 total graded copies of Lane Hudson's Young Guns, with only 1,300 getting a PSA 10. So a low gem rate, which usually means that that keeps the price relatively high with a lower supply. So, the fact that it's only at 430, I guess, or it's there could speak to the gem rate possibly. But for Demidov, I mean, we'll see what the gem rate looks like at this point. But it's gonna go down. It's going to, man. Like there's one card right now, one player, I think, unless McKinnon's tipped over that margin. Pretty sure there's only one guy in a PSA 10. Sorry. 3 guys in a PSA 10 that goes for north of $1,000. That's Crosby, Ovechkin, and McDavid.
Yeah.
I mean, McKinnon, I think, is approaching there. Probably could get to 1,000. Maybe he's another guy who's there, but I don't believe any other 10s are going for 1,000 Canadian. You're gonna tell me that Demidov deserves to be in that range? I don't see it. So if someone offers me 1,000 Canadian, yeah, it's 400 less than last sale, but that thing's gonna be a $500 card in 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, I mean, even too, like you said, once everyone starts grading them, like I just kind of fell into this weird rabbit hole now, just looking at what the pop of, because we haven't talked about it. It was a conversation we used to have almost or I guess it was last summer. Connor Bedard pop watch. Do you know what they're at right now? Do you have a number? Do you want to guess? I'm looking at it right. It's ridiculous. Like,
yeah,
it's ridiculous. I remember the last time we talked about it was when he eclipsed Kaprizov's number, I believe.
It's like 8,000. It's got to be in the 8,000 range.
18,000. 18,000.
Oh, total. Okay. I meant 10s. How many 10s?
Okay. 7,500. So really good guess. Really good guess on the 10s. 18,000. Kaprizov has 9,000. Jack Hughes has 8,000. I was just looking at 18,000, man.
So what does that tell you about the print runs of the last couple of years?
Oh my goodness. Just very high. Very high. And there also is one PSA 1. Wow. Whoever you are out there, that is tough.
Crumple it up.
I don't know what happened there, but one PSA 1.
That's funny. That's funny. So yeah, I try to sell it first, and then at that point, I'll try and trade it if no one's willing to give me cash for it. I'll try and do some trades and get value that way. All right, Anthony. I want to talk a little bit about this post that we'll get into our little hobby news segment, but this post that the president of Upper Deck actually made on his social media accounts. And it's like, I don't know if I would call it concerning, but it's a very interesting post for him to make. So Jason Mashara, who's the president of Upper Deck, who obviously is the exclusive rights holder of NHL hockey cards, took to social media and made this post here. It's a little lengthy, but I'll try and get through it as quick as possible, and then we can react to it on the other side. So this is basically on the state of the hobby, the collectibles hobby in general. So here's what he had to say. Quote, everything speculative is up right now. The stock market, Bitcoin, trading cards, and it's pricing some collectors out. Here's what the data shows. 50% of consumer spending in the US is coming from 10% of the population. Rich people are carrying the market, not just in cards, but across every category. Concert tickets, $1,000 for nosebleeds. Luxury goods selling faster than ever. High-end collectibles moving at record prices. When boxes cost $1,000 or more, you're not buying for fun anymore. You're speculating. You're betting that what you buy today will be worth significantly more tomorrow. And that works until it doesn't. Sports cards have always had speculation built in. You collect a rookie hoping that someday they become a Hall of Famer, but what's happening now is different in scale. And when markets become this speculative, they become fragile. I'm not saying the sky is falling. I'm not saying we need to be honest, or I'm saying we need to be honest about what's happening. This isn't sustainable growth driven by collectors who love the hobby. This is wealth concentration driving prices that most people can't participate in. And if that money suddenly moves elsewhere to bet on something else, we all will feel it. What are your thoughts on that, Anthony? A bombshell really a scathing remark on the state of the hobby, where it's at a near all-time high, and he just almost dragged it through the dirt here. The president of one of the most prominent card manufacturing companies in the world, Upper Deck. What'd you make of that?
So I wanted to look at it from like a different like a different angle. So Brandon, actually our producer, sent it and mentioned like, why would he say this? And I think that he kind of came out and mentioned this on LinkedIn in that post to kind of protect the collectors, because what the hobby's turned into is just kind of like this crazy speculative bidding market of crazy box prices. And like he mentioned, 50% of the population is spent by 10% of consumers, and went on to his big tangent. But I think that he is protecting the collectors right now. And I'm talking about the true collectors that want to go pick up a box with their friends, with their kid, with whoever it might be, and enjoy that box no matter who they get, no matter if the guy they pull is in the Hall of Fame. I think that he's looking at and talking to collectors saying, don't feel like you need to spend all this money to have fun in the hobby, because I feel like down the road, these people that are spending all this crazy money are slowly going to regress. And I believe them. I personally believe them. I think that the hobby is, in a sense, peaking right now.
Yeah,
All cards are going up. We're seeing it with Pokemon. We haven't seen the same reflection like Pokemon's been doing.
that's stupid.
Crazy conversation for another day, but it's a weird thing for him to post. I don't know. I wasn't sure at first why, but after I started to think about it, I do personally think that he was trying to he was trying to protect the collector.
Yeah, I can see that argument. It just I don't know. It's a really weird thing for him to post, particularly because he's the president of Upper Deck, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like he's nearly, you know, like legitimately just like pooping on just a wall squat deuce and toss on the market entirely. So it was kind of bizarre. But I will say that the hockey card market specifically, to kind of bring it back to like our home, our base, is different than football, baseball, basketball, TCG. It does feel far more collector based than investment based. There are a lot of collectors in here with some strong ties that won't leave the hobby like they will in other hobbies. And I think that's where I would hold some solace, and which is why it's kind of interesting coming from the Upper Deck guy who's stating this, because his product does seem to be more collector based than investor based. Like that's kind of the irony behind it. So I don't know. I agree with him to an extent. I certainly think that the collectibles market as a whole is definitely peaking right now, and there's a lot of money that's being funneled into it. There's a lot of speculation being sent there. A lot of people aren't buying like actual assets like homes and cars and all that. They're putting their money into other things because those other markets are very unstable. The car market is also, somewhat unstable, or will prove to be that eventually. I agree. But I do think that hockey is more safe than the other big sports. Do you agree or do you disagree?
I wouldn't say it's safer. I do think that if I had to pick a particular sport, I would probably say that baseball is maybe the safest. I know that's kind of been around the
Talking
longest and
now,
has.
we are talking like ultra modern, by the way. Like I
Okay.
just like I'm speaking specifically ultra modern. Like you're talking like vintage baseball.
Yeah.
That is probably the safest market in the hobby.
Right.
But in terms of ultra modern, like the last 15 years, I think hockey is, or even like since the end of the junk wax era, I think hockey is one of the more safer plays because
Well,
it's the cheapest,
yeah.
right?
Well,
Ultimately,
especially.
it's got the lowest floor, the lowest ceiling, but I think that also means that a lot of these whales who are into it just for the money, they're kind of staying away from hockey because the money's not quite there, right? There's bigger fish to catch in the other sports.
Well, I mean, when you look at what football's done in the past 2 years, like, we look at Mac Jones, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, just to name a few of big fish that didn't really turn out, and you look at big time collectors that go in and think they can make a quick buck and buy, an $125,000 national treasure, logo man, RPA, whatever have you, and
Jaden
flip it for
Daniels,
250. It's not gonna happen. Even Jaden Daniels, a guy that I was looking
rough,
at.
rough
CJ Stroud,
cards.
another one, like, it's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah. That's what I mean. And like basketball, Zion, Luca, like it's all it's all the same. LaMelo Ball, so many people put money into him. Carmelo Anthony, John Morant, like there's so many, or not Carmelo Anthony, like Tyrese Halliburton, or yeah, like whoever. Like there's so many different names out there that you could throw out there. And look, there's the same, like, lots of people speculated tons of money on Alexi Lafreniere and Trevor Zegras and Connor Bedard, and to this point, it hasn't paid off. He paid at the peak of their markets, but the difference is the losses far less. Like you talk about the Mac Jones, like that one gets talked about a lot because was it a Mac Jones, like one of one something that sold, like logo man that sold. It was a Mac Jones card. It was rookie year. Yeah, sold for like $140,000 or something like that. And today it's worth like $300. like that doesn't exist in hockey.
I don't know if you remember the one kid that pulled. Now this was a couple years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. He pulled like the Mac Jones
That's
101
what I'm talking about. That's
The
what I'm
101
talking about.
Prism. It wasn't like an
Oh,
RPA
well,
or a logo man.
that's what I was referring
Yeah,
to.
so it was a kid and then his dad, I believe, and then they ended up just selling it right away, which was obviously the smartest decision they could have made because like you said, that card's going for nothing. It's ridiculous, and from that argument, I do understand what you mean. Yeah, hockey is probably the safer market, especially, higher end cards. We don't really see those prices of rookie cards go for 150,000. If we do,
Yeah.
it's really like front page stuff for the hockey market. Like we don't all the time see cards, Connor Bedard cards going for over 100,000. We just talked about $45,000 Macklin Celebrini card. Like that's a big comp for the hockey market. But for the football market or the basketball market, that's just like a drop in the bucket for a guy like Tyrese Halliburton, Jason Tatum. Like we see sales like that all the time for markets like that.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. I mean, I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. I don't think he expects it to fall off a cliff within a week or two here. I think he expects maybe a gradual decline in the market, and it's probable. I'm not doubting that it's not going to happen. All I'm saying is I think that of all the four sports, the hockey card collecting community is probably the strongest, I would say, and least speculative, I suppose is maybe the way to put it. So I think that there's less risk, I guess, involved in hockey cards as opposed to the other major sports. All right, Anthony, why don't we close out the show? You got a couple of pickups you want to show from the Run the Hobby that you're at this weekend?
So I went to the run the hobby. First
But
time
you
there.
lied, by the way. You said you weren't going to any shows this weekend. You were done
I
for Expo.
I know, I know. I ended up having a very chill Sunday, and I was considering just chilling and watching football, but I was thinking, you know what? Let me go. I've never been there before. I might as well. And I do have pickups, but with Expo coming around, I gotta use my card a little bit. If you want to see the pickups, you gotta come by the booth 5606. But I will show one card. It won't be at the booth. It's for a friend. Picked up a Kirill Marchenko for him. He's been talking about Marchenko for a while. He wasn't really a collector, and he kind of said, I just want like a $10 Marchenko card, something a little cheaper. And I mentioned to him, like, you know what? Like for $100, you could get a pretty good future watch and it'll actually hold its value or go up even more, especially for a player like that. So pick that up for him. And yeah, besides that, my pickups are on lockdown now. I'm on lockdown mode. Posted a couple cards for sale today, but booth 5606 if you want to see some of my cards.
All right, go check those out. Yeah, I picked up a couple cards. I don't have them on. I'm at my girlfriend's. They're at home, unfortunately. But picked up a really nice Matthews retro PMG number to 100, which is sick. Picked up the nice Allure Color Flow Rainbow Auto rookie, which is nice. Patrick Kane Young Guns. Yeah, it was really cool. I went to funny enough, a flea market, and there was one guy who had a bunch of really cool stuff, and I was like, you know what? Interesting. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's the lot that I picked up there. There it is. There you go. Beautiful. Yeah. OEL High Gloss, which I thought was cool, in a Leafs uniform. Yeah, thought that was a cool little pickup too. All right, Anthony. Good stuff. We'll see you at Expo again. First 25 people who hit up Anthony's booth, get yourself a sticker, and the 25th person will also earn themselves a LeBron James Funko Pop. It's Expo time, baby. I'm excited. You're excited. We're all excited. But that'll do it for us here today on the podcast. I'd like to thank you all for listening and supporting the show. You can subscribe right here on YouTube. You can also listen on the go on Apple Music, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. We'll be back on 2 Wednesdays from now, the week after Expo, with another episode of the Hockey Card Haven podcast.